Ever since the trailer for Megamind 2 came out, I've been asking myself, who am I? Why would DreamWorks do this? And is there really no Queen of England? Megamind was, and still is, one of my favorite movies ever. I watched this movie when I was 11 years old and it was perfection. Now I'm 18, and 14 years after Megamind's original release, Peacock has announced the Megamind sequel. I watched it, and I'm gonna give you my entirely honest opinion as we try to understand. How did it all come to this, you ask? Well, we'll get the answer to that question later. But first, if you've never watched Megamind, then quit making eye contact with me, you freak! Megamind is a spin on most superhero movies, which came out right before the saturation of that genre. Green Lantern. The reason that this movie has been popular for so many years and is still doing well and thriving today is because it's a perfectly made, funny, just well done movie. You've most likely seen the memes that continue to come from this movie 14 years after its release, and while it is a kids movie, it's definitely targeted for older teenagers and adults. We'll get more into that subject later, but the reason for Megamind 1, I can't believe I have to actually say that. The reason that it is considered a classic masterpiece is because it was completely unexpected. People had no idea that DreamWorks would drop this movie and shake up the genre of the superhero movies, but it was such a pleasant surprise. I love DreamWorks movies. I grew up on Madagascar, Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, and B-Movie, of course. But no movie that I've watched growing up has stuck with me like Megamind. I rewatched it for this video, and it still hits as hard as it did back when my hair was stuck solid with gel. DreamWorks is like notoriously known for dropping just okay movies, and then out of nowhere, just a banger. But since Megamind came out in the same year that How to Train Your Dragon did, which was like a huge hit, no one really paid attention to Megamind. But I did, because I was super cool for a child. Bottle flip on them hoes. The movie did okay, and the audience that did see it loved it, but it just slowly built up its reputation over time. Even more reasons why I love this movie and why it is so fantastic. The cast. Will Ferrell as Megamind was a perfect fit, and he has a really good evil laugh. Like, it's good. Tina Fey as Roxanne Ritchie and Rob Corddry as Random Citizen. I also love Justin Forax, who plays Megamind's Fat. Something else that I need to elaborate on is the plot of this movie. It begins as a normal hero and villain backstory when we're introduced to Megamind and the savior of Metrocity, Metro Man. They would have their back and forth. Metro Man would win some, Megamind would almost win others, until Megamind kills Metro Man. Megamind is shortly happy, but then realizes that he has no more purpose. He's a yin without a yang. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do so many Megamind quotes in this video. Some other unnecessary things happen, the snotty boy glows up, and now Megamind has his purpose back. When you get around to the final half of the movie, your minuscule mind gets blown. The plot twists that are in the final half of this movie are so well done and so insane. I had forgotten some of them before my rewatch, and they had me gawking. And oh my god, dude, this one scene gives me those goosebumps every time.
Oh, you're a villain, all right. Just not a super one.
Yeah? What's the difference?
Presentation!
Then there's the fantastic soundtrack. Bad to the bone. Highway to Hell by AC/DC, Mr. Blue Sky, Going Off the Rails on a Crazy Train, Sir, and Bad by Michael Jackson. The soundtrack stacked, the plot insane, the cast freaking swag. And if you're somehow still watching, let's just all agree that Megamind was a fantastic movie and move on to back in 2010 when Megamind 1 came out, the film grossed $321.9 million worldwide. This sounds like a huge success, but Megamind was one of DreamWorks Animation's lowest grossing films of the 2010s. There were 3 reasons for this, with the last one being a big shock to me. The first was the huge competition of movies that came out around the time of Megamind, with a Reddit post on r/box office asking why Megamind didn't do well at the time of its release, having a comment by the user I Love Reagan Health saying, DreamWorks had released released 2 other movies in 2010, How to Train Your Dragon in March and Shrek Forever After in May. Pixar also had the juggernaut that was Toy Story 3 that year, and Disney will release Tangled in November 2010. Audiences may have been overwhelmed and just didn't give Megamind a look. There was just too big of a competition with other huge animated films coming out around this time frame, so Megamind just didn't really have a chance to grip onto its full potential. The second reason is that the marketing was terrible. Hot trash. With a 2010 article written by Amanda J. Cornier called DreamWorks Gets Smart, the marketing of Megamind. Sorry, what? It goes into lots of detail about the really weird marketing tactics used to promote Megamind. Firstly, did you know that there was an official Megamind rap?
Megamind! Hit it! Straight out of Metro City!
And it slaps. Megamind, Megamind. DreamWorks were really experimenting with the way that they were marketing this movie, with even the app Farmville collaborating with Megamind. That one farming simulator app from the 2010s collaborated with Megamind. My life is complete. Then there was the website, which had games, a comic book, the soundtrack, and behind-the-scenes clips. Maybe the marketing was fine. And it just gets better from there, because as we travel to Comic-Con, we get the official Megamind panel, where Will Ferrell is blue. Look at him. Look at that man. May I show you one of the official posters for Megamind made by DreamWorks, a children's animation company. 3, 2, 1. It's big for a reason is unhinged marketing. The article ends by saying, in all, I think all of DreamWorks' efforts were admirable, and it paid off. Megamind opened as #1 in the box office this weekend, with 48 million in sales. The movie did do well, achieving a #1 spot upon release, but it wasn't as big of a hit as a movie by the name Despicable Me. The final reason as to why Megamind wasn't a global, humongous success was because 1 month earlier, Despicable Me came out. Do you remember Minions? Yeah, well, apparently they came from this movie. Pretty bananas, if you ask me. This was such a shame, because literally a month later, Megamind comes out, and people called it a Despicable Me ripoff, just because one character was called Minion. Coincidence? Yeah, I think that was a pretty weird coincidence. Anyway, the sheer domination of Despicable Me made it seem as if Megamind was a Despicable Me ripoff. A worse, uglier looking version of another movie, and I can see that. While the characters in Despicable Me look just funnier and have more childlike attributes, Megamind has a big ass head. And while I think the animation is really well done and even a bit ahead of its time at some points, I think it's just targeted for an older audience. The animation is detailed, dynamic, and still holds up today. Many people, Redditors, think that the animators behind Megamind tried targeting an older audiences with the more stylistic, in-depth choices. The whole movie itself is fantastic because it works for all audiences. But since the movie has gotten really popular amongst like teenagers and adults, that's where the cult audience has exploded. Themes of relationships, friendships ending, and having no bitches. The competition for Megamind was just too strong. The hope of a Megamind sequel ever coming out was dead in the water, and Megamind was finished. Until Olo. That means hello. On February 11th, 2022, it was announced by Peacock that they would be making a Megamind television series. From an article written by Deadline, they say, Megamind's Guide to Defending Your City, produced by DreamWorks Animation, is the series follow-up to the 2010 movie, where Megamind goes from being a supervillain and the scourge of Metro City to a superhero who's learning on the job. He'll be bringing the audience along for the ride, as Megamind's trusty brainbots will be recording everything, making him the world's first superhero influencer. You say what now? Something that DreamWorks is notoriously known for doing is taking the properties of a big movie that they've had and turning it into a cheap-looking, shittily made TV show. Take Madagascar, I want to die! Trolls, Puss in Boots, and even the goddamn Boss Baby. So they were set to release a TV show and then later on announced that there was also a movie. It's like really confusing. Coming out on that one streaming service that Drew Gooden made a video on, this news had fans confused. I can't wait for this!
Hello, loyal viewers.
Oh no.
I don't know a whole lot about this other than that they just released the trailer, so let's give it a watch. I'm hoping that it's good.
Time to kick some Doom Syndicate booty.
Okay.
Charades, anyone? No! Well, I can stop them. We must.
I have never been more disappointed in my entire life. All right, maybe an overstatement, but holy crap.
Some thought that this was good news, others not so much. And it was bad. I wish they just left Megamind's story after the first movie. They did not need to milk it into a TV show or a whole nother movie. But they did, because people like money. I wanted to know if the creator of Megamind ever wanted the story to continue, but I looked it up and I couldn't find anything. Maybe there was always room for the story to continue, but I highly doubt that because the movie wraps up all loose ends really well. My opinion is that ever since Megamind has become an underrated cult classic and has slowly just grown in popularity over time, DreamWorks saw this, went to Peacock, and said, "Could you please ruin this for me?" And Peacock nailed it. On the 2nd of February 2024, Peacock Kids posted the official trailer for Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate. And it did not go down well. Who is that? What did they do to my boy? There was an overwhelming amount of hate, but mostly disappointment, because this movie could have been so good. Megamind should have got the Puss in Boots treatment, and there was probably just a huge amount of animators, very talented ones, that would have loved to work on this movie. But instead, we got this.
Here's a souvenir. It's either a paperweight or a flash grenade, so careful with that.
Gross. Somehow, the animation looks worse than the movie, which came out 14 years ago. Peacock just used that shitty Penguins of Madagascar TV show animation. And why? Let me suck the toes off King Julian if that's what it takes to make a good sequel. And what really sucks is that DreamWorks was on a roll. They had just released the Bad Guys movie, which personally, I think that movie's fantastic, and the wolf is extremely sexy. Then Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which was extremely unexpected. The animation was strikingly good, the themes of panic attacks and death were so mature, and that wolf is extremely sexy. So Megamind coming back in this poorly animated TV show and shitty looking movie looks like it sucks ass. So I did the one thing nobody even dared to do. Don't look that up. And I watched Megamind 2. That rhymes. It's really bad. I just finished watching the entirety of Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, and I'm genuinely flabbergasted at how bad it is. This movie sucks, and I'll tell you why. When I first began watching, like the first 5 minutes of the movie, I was just laughing because it's so dumb. The plot is that Megamind's old crew break out of prison and then think that Megamind is being good as a facade so they can launch phase 2 of their evil plan, which is to send Metrocity to space. This movie must have been made during the recent writer's strike because there is no way a real-life human being wrote this garbage. Before I get to my biggest complaint, we gotta talk about the voice acting. It's bad. Since most of the characters' original voice actors have changed, the spirit of the original characters from the first movie has just evaporated. I actually hate how Megamind sounds so much.
I see friends who frankly should put some pants on and venture outside occasionally. Seriously, get some sun.
Keith Ferguson doesn't even sound anything like Will Ferrell, so I don't know why DreamWorks went with him. This movie is just so god-awful. It's almost impressive. The only good thing to come from this hour-and-a-half long movie is a few shots of Megamind's toes. Thank the toe gods for that. They decided to rename Minion to Old Chum. I mean, they explained why in the movie, but I can't even remember, and I just watched it. That's how bad it is. The animation is horrible. I know I and many others have said this, but the animation is worse than the original movie, which came out 14 years ago. Look at this screenshot from the official sequel to Megamind. It's so bad that it's kind of funny. I hate myself. My biggest complaint with the movie is that it feels like a low-budget knockoff of Megamind. And that's because it genuinely is. I've talked about 2 low-budget knockoff movies before, but I'm saying that this one counts. I don't care if DreamWorks are a part of this because it is a knockoff of Megamind. That's the best way I can put it. It just doesn't feel like a genuine sequel. It feels like a low-budget foreign company just ripped it off and changed the title a little bit. And now I finally think that it's time that we ask the same question we did at the very start of this video. I don't know. Yeah.